Hi everyone. So it's time. It's time for us to come back together for worship, and so we want to show you just a little bit about what that's going to look like as you come back to Trindle Spring Lutheran Church for worship this coming Sunday on June 21st. So first, of course, hopefully you remember how to get here. I know it's been 3 months, but hopefully you remember how to get in your car and drive to church on a Sunday morning. So you park in whatever parking lot you want to, and then you come on in the building. There'll be somebody to meet you at all 3 of the doors. So no matter what entrance you come to, whether it's the east side, the north side, the west doors, that part doesn't matter so much. But we will have worship services at our regular times, 8 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. And then right out here on the east parking lot by the circle, we're going to be doing our 6:30 in the evening service outdoors. You're invited to bring your own lawn chair with you. We'll do communion and everything right here in the parking lot. So that'll be 6:30 on Sunday evenings. So after you pull into the church, one of the things we want to make sure that you do is we want to invite you to keep that social distancing throughout the time that you're here. So in the parking lot, everything else. But the other big piece of it is make sure you bring your mask with you. We are requiring those to be worn when you're in the building, just for everybody's safety. But come on in and we'll show you the different things that are going to be happening and how things will be a little different. The first thing you're going to notice is a sign on the door that basically just tells you some of the things that are happening. So we want you to only use certain entrances, wear your mask. There'll be places to sanitize your hands, I'll show you in a minute, and then a couple other pieces along the way. But the biggest thing to remember is just follow the direction of the ushers and the folks that are helping you get where you need to go in the building. So come on in. If you get to church and you happen to forget your mask or you don't have one, don't worry, we have them available. We've had a bunch of our sewers who have been making them for the past few months, so we've got a bunch of extras around the church. So if you need them, there's some over here of different sizes. The ushers can point you to the right direction. But then, with your mask on, right, we need you to come on in. And you'll see around the narthex, there are 3 different stations where you can sanitize your hands. So you want to come on up. I know you know how to do that. But go ahead and use a little hand sanitizer at one of the 3 different stations that we have for you. And then you can go ahead and move towards the sanctuary where an usher will help you figure out where to sit. So everything you're going to need for the service is right here in the bulletin. You'll grab one of the bulletins yourselves. The ushers won't be handing them to you just so that they don't touch them. But you'll grab a bulletin. And then for communion, you're going to want to grab one of these as well. And this has our prepackaged wafer and grape juice in there that we'll use for communion. And you'll hear more about that when you get here for worship on Sunday morning. But then the ushers will help tell you where to sit. So as you see, different services in order to keep people distance a little. We've got 10:30 seating, 8 o'clock seating. So then depending on what service you're at and where the ushers tell you to go, you can have a seat. So if I'm coming for the 8 o'clock service and they tell me to go ahead and sit up front, then you just come on up and have a seat. Now I'm going to take this off so you can hear me a little bit better, but one of the things you're going to notice about the service, the sanctuary, of course, it looks the same. It's the same as you left it. But if you notice in the pews, there's no hymnals, there's no writing utensils, there's nothing there for you right now, because everything you need for the service, again, is going to be in your bulletin, hymns and all, right? Now, one of the big things is during service, it's going to feel different, but we're not singing. According to the CDC and a number of other places, that's one of the quickest and most effective ways to spread the virus. So we're going to avoid singing. We're going to have a cantor up front who's going to be singing the lyrics to our different songs that we have. But then you're going to be invited to either hum along or speak the words along with the cantor. You can do either one of those things. So I know it's going to feel a little different, but for now, that's how our worship service is going to go. So at the 10:30 service, we always do a children's sermon, and we want to make sure we still have that time to connect with the kids, but we want to do that in a safe way. So I'll show you what we're going to be doing for that as well. So on Sunday morning for the children's sermons, you can see the carpet squares that are up here on the carpet inside the chancel railing. All of those are at least 6 feet apart from where I'm going to be sitting, and they're also 6 feet apart from one another. So we'll invite the kids to come forward, have a seat on those carpet squares, and parents, if you're worried about them being a little wiggly or getting a little too close to somebody else, you're welcome to come and kneel or sit on the communion railing or the kneeler right behind where your kids are going to be. Then, towards the end of service, what will happen is the ushers will go ahead and dismiss you by row as to prevent any congestion. And you guys know me. I love to stand in the back and greet and give hugs and shake hands and things like that. But for everybody's safety, for a while that's not going to happen. The goal will be to get people back out of the sanctuary without being too close to one another. So the ushers will be releasing pews one at a time as you leave the sanctuary. Then if you want to turn around for a minute, the other thing that we'll tell you is out in the narthex, there's going to be additional seating available. So if we have a few too many people to fit in here, and we're worried about that, we've got chairs that we can put out in the narthex for you to be able to have some additional seating as well. The other thing we then want to encourage people is if you want to socialize, that's great. I know how important it is for us to be together and for us to talk. We do want you to do that from a safe distance. But the other thing is, it would be even better to do it from outside. All the studies show that fresh air and a breeze going is the best preventative measure. So I would say go ahead and take those conversations out to the parking lot where it'll hopefully be nice and sunny. You could talk to one another for a while, but we want to invite you to carry that socializing and that conversation outside following worship service. So again, we want to just welcome you back this Sunday, June 21st, 8 a.m., 10:30, and then 6:30 outdoors. Know that things will be different, but we will be able to be together once again for worship, which is the most important piece. And of course, we also want you to be comfortable and we want you to be safe. So if you're not quite ready to be back together in person, it's also okay to join us online for a little while longer, okay? We're more than happy to have you. Do know that as we do our prayer requests, normally when we've come into the building, you've been able to write on a whiteboard. Some of those things won't be happening right now. Sign-up sheets, those things won't be out for you to touch and sign up as well. A lot of that will be happening online. So hopefully we will see many of you this Sunday morning at one of our worship services or Sunday evening. Until then, take care.